Hey, my name is Ryan Postel, co-founder of CodeStitch, and today we're going to be going over our navigations and what makes them so special. First and foremost, none of these navigations have any animation libraries or frameworks. They are all just HTML and CSS, vanilla JavaScript, and some CSS transitions. That's everything. So I want to get right into it here and be as quick as I can. You're going to see this option here for choose your mobile menu style. And what this is, it's for your mobile navigation animation. So we have top drop down, slide from right, and full screen. So this means that this mobile navigation will slide from the right, this will come from the top, and then this will just fill the whole screen. So for display purposes, let's choose this one because it's got some fun stuff in it with a drop down. Let's do slide from right. I'm going to get code. And I'm just going to copy and paste this as you would in real time if you were doing this yourself. So we're just going to copy and paste and save. We're going to grab our JavaScript, click the copy, go to our navigation, save, close that because we're not going to need you anymore. And CSS, I choose less. That's what I want to use. And dark mode. This is going to have all the dark mode styles and everything. And I'm going to go over dark mode a little later. So I want to have these styles. So let's go to here, and in our root CSS, this is the CSS sheet that goes on every HTML page. This has your navigation, your footer, buttons, fonts, everything. This is the CSS sheet that is shared on all pages. So we're going to paste this here, and we're going to save. And when we go to the live site, we have our navigation. That's it. We have a working drop down here. These guys have their hover animations going. Now when we go to mobile, this is where the fun happens. We got a slide from right, just like that. And then you have our drop down here. It has their own little special drop down animation. And let's say, well, first let me show you the responsiveness. So once it gets this one, that's when we start getting closer to desktop. We got these guys here. And then when we grow, that's when we add the other guys. And then now we're full-fledged desktop here. So I want to show you how easy this is. If you don't like that that slide from right, let's say you try that out and you're just not getting behind it for this site. So let's just change this to 360. Let's zoom back into, let's say 75. That's cool. So let's go back to here. Let's back out. And here's our navigation. So let's change this to top drop down. Let's do a top drop. We're going to copy the code. We already got the HTML and JavaScript, so let's just grab the CSS again, here, get the less, and get the dark mode. Click to copy, and when I go to here, I undo what I did, just paste, and save, and let's just see what this looks like now. So now that's the top drop. Maybe we like that, right? And then we got our drop-down menu here, just like that. They have their own animations separate from the side slide to make this work for this arrangement. And every navigation that we have will have these options for you, and you can just easily change between them. And now I want to show you how the dark mode works. So every navigation that we have, they're all unique. They have different layouts, different arrangements. So adding a dark mode button can be kind of tricky sometimes, which is why we've already added it. It's already built in. It comes with the styles and the arrangements for you. So all you got to do is uncomment the button. And if you selected the dark mode version, it will have the dark mode toggle. So let me just go ahead and collapse all of our media queries really quick. You notice that all of CodeStitch uses these media query groups, and we do this for better organization. And I'm going to talk about the code a little later in this video, but that's all you need to know. It's just for pure organization, so we can go up and down the screen and see where we are at a glance and the breakpoint that we want to work with. So we got our dark toggle button here. So we save after we uncommented it. So these styles will position and style this button. So let's go back to the live site. I said to the live site. There we go. And now we have our button right here. This is on desktop. So when we go to mobile, it's also positioned where it's supposed to be on mobile. And we have its own styles for its active states on the navigation. So when you open up the navigation, it turns to white. It's built into this navigation, so you don't have to do it. All you got to do is grab the dark styles, uncomment your button, and it's working. The only thing you have to do is go to CodeStitch and grab the dark mode JavaScript. So I already have it enabled on mine. So the normal dark mode styles, it comes with a button. It comes with base dark mode styles. Since we already have the CSS and the HTML, we're just going to grab the JS, and that's all you really need. And now you have this working dark mode button in your navigation. So I mean, that's it. That's dark mode, and it works. So let's go to desktop, and let's hit dark mode. So since you chose the dark mode styles for this nav, it also comes with the dark mode styles for everything. So you don't have to do that either. And they're pulling from the dark mode variables that we grabbed from the dark mode CSS options in CodeStitch. And that's a separate video too, adding dark mode to your site and how all that works. But we're not going to talk about that here. I'm just showing you how easy it is to add dark mode to your navigation. It's so easy, you don't have to do it, basically. So let's talk about our dropdowns. There, if you ever wanted to add one, like let's say we have about us. We don't like about and about us, right? So let's go into the code, and we'll find right here is where we have the comment where it basically says take the CS dropdown and replace the CSLI. So let's copy all of this, all right? And let's change about into a dropdown, and let's just say other thing. And maybe we don't want 2 dropdowns, we want 4. So let's just add 4. Save, and let's go over here. Now it's a dropdown. Other thing, we click it, and it just works. You don't have to reconfigure the JavaScript or anything. You just copy and paste some code, and it's done. And the same thing happens over here. We got our 4 options. We got our 2 options here. But something's going to happen. Let's say we get really list crazy, and we have 8. And when we go to our navigation, oh boy, it's really long. This is not ideal. You have 2 options. Either you reduce the line height of these nav links, or we already thought of this for you. You go to your CSS, and you notice we pulled out the navigation drop-down code. It's not inside the mobile. It's not inside the desktop. We yanked it out of there so that you can edit it a lot easier without having to find it and scroll up and down the document. It makes more sense to do it this way. So we're looking for desktop. That's what we want to work in our navigation dropdown. So when we open this up, we're going to go down to our drop UL, which is right here. This is our UL. That is drop. That is the drop. And we have this comment here that explains that basically it's just saying if it's too long, uncomment this, and now you have 2 columns. So let's go back to our live site, if I can click properly. There we go. And now it's on 2 lines. It's in 2 columns, I should say. So you don't need to do anything else. We already thought of that for you, and we gave you the option to add it to your site. But the only problem is it also does it for this one. And we don't want that. We want this to be in 1 column because that looks absolutely ridiculous. So this is where being a developer is advantageous, because you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, I want to target 1 UL or 1 drop UL to have 2 columns. So what do? We add a class. So this drop UL, this long one, let's just call this CS long. And call it whatever you want. And then we remove this here because we don't want this on all the drop ULs. So this is our drop UL default style. So let's just go .cs long. And this is where we add the columns. So we only want CS long to have 2 columns, not all of them. So when we go to our live site, this one has 2 columns, which is CS long, but this one is just in its regular 1 column. And you can do this for however many you want. Let's say, let's go to this one and let's add 12. So we got 4 here. So let's do this twice. So copy and paste this. So we got 4, 8, and 12. Now that's really long. So let's target this one, CS long 2, right? And since this is 12, this is even longer. I don't want to have 2 rows of 6. I want 3 rows of 4. So we're just going to do CS long 2, and that's going to be columns, whoops, that's going to be 3. So CS long will be 2 columns, and CS long 2 will be 3. So we go to live site. This is 2 columns, and this one is 3. So it's not as intuitive at the box unless you understand, the HTML and CSS really well. This is just the only way that it makes sense, and it's simple. So we did it this way without trying to overcomplicate the code or try to do anything crazy that just makes this harder to use. We're kind of putting our faith in the developers to be developers. I mean, this is who it's for. Sometimes I'm sorry I got to make you write code, but that's why I'm doing these videos, to show you exactly what code you need to write. So that's the only caveat with these navigations, is if you want multiple drop downs with different column lengths, then you just have to target them separately and tell them how many columns you want. I hope that is not that bad and it's a little straightforward. And I mean, that's about it. The only thing I want to explain here is the code and the structure and the organization we have. So I know it looks weird having the 0 rem. This makes no sense, because obviously this is, starting at pixel 0, which you might as well not even have. You just write the code, right? But we do this to use it for its organizational properties, so that we can see, okay, these are our, mobile first code. So let's just collapse this so that we can see everything at a glance. I'm not going to get into any more specifics on that, because that's in the other video explaining our code. But in our mobile navigations and our desktop navigations, they're separated by media queries. So our mobile is set with a max width, so that up until 1023 pixels, these styles will run. And our desktop is like, all right, well, starting at 1024, only run these styles. And we do that so that whatever changes you make in mobile does not affect desktop, and vice versa. That way you can edit either or and not have to go back and forth fixing the changes you made, because, oh, I did this thing on mobile, but now my links look weird on desktop, and this isn't supposed to be. Well, we separated them, and we're using very specific media query targeting to basically say, okay, only on mobile will these styles run. So if I'm looking at the mobile code, I just go into my mobile, make my changes, and I'm done. It does not affect anything else. And that's the same reason why we brought out our navigation drop-down code, because not only does it make it easier for us to present and give you these stitches, this code, but it also makes it a lot easier to edit, because instead of having to go into your mobile code to find your mobile dropdown, and then go into your desktop navigation code to go find your desktop dropdown code, you go to this one spot. And we have everything in their media query, so you can just scroll up and down your document and find immediately where you need to go. I got to go on my desktop here. Oh, wait, I got to make this change in mobile up here. This is so much easier to work when you have your code organized this way. And I know it looks weird and it's strange, but once I started using this in my actual freelancing, it just made editing so much easier, because instead of having to scroll through hundreds and hundreds of lines, I can literally see the entire website code here and in like a couple scrolls. So that's as far as I'll get into the code without having to make a completely separate video of it. But this is essentially our navigations in a nutshell. So let's go back to the front here. I don't think there's anything else we need to explain. They are all completely responsive, like this logo here, because of the way we coded it. You can put any image here that you want, and it should fit, barring having to change a height and width every once in a while. But we set the width to a certain, well, I think on this one we set the height to a fixed value, and then the width is auto. So will always be however tall it needs to be to fit this box, and then the width will just be automatic of whatever whatever it needs to be. So it will conform to whatever logo you put in here. And I think that's what's really cool about our navigations is you also don't have to worry about the height and widths of the images that you swap in because I already thought about that. Um, so when you take a code stitch nav, you just got to upload whatever image you want for your logo and it will just adapt to it. So that's it. Other than like when you have these tall navigations, you see how it's a little tight here. You might have to go into your like your hero code and make the padding top a little bigger to accommodate the extra wide because we got a top section here. So all of our hero sections are built for a 100 pixel tall navigation. This one's a little taller, so we just got to count for, let's say this looks like an extra 100 pixels. So if our padding top is 200 pixels, you just make it 300. That's all. But that's it. These are navigations. They just work out the box. And that hopefully these are pretty easy to use and edit. And if you have any other questions, you can reach out to us on the email in the comment section here in the Code Stitch official Discord, where I also interact with users and help answer questions. So with that, I hope you enjoy the navigations and I hope you enjoy Code Stitch. Thanks for watching.